final battle for control of the Senate. We'll have the latest results on the 2 Senate runoff races in Georgia, plus why some stimulus checks are going to the wrong bank accounts, and officials from the village of Airport Drive speak out after being denied CARES funding by Jasper County.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, the Neosho Wildcats face off against East Newton on the basketball court. We'll have highlights and the latest after hip-hop legend Dr. Dre is hospitalized. But first, a check on your forecast.
And the Wednesday rain is upon us, albeit light to begin with, but we do see it originating as a low-pressure system that worked in from the west/southwest here in just the last several hours. And let's go out to the Freeman Hill System sky camera. And here's the great thing. When we see temperature of 44, we know we're going to be able to keep it simply as rain. So even coming off of yesterday and getting a little spoiled, the nice thing is I mean, mid-30s, that's as low as we go. So no reason to worry about this thing flipping over at any point throughout the course of today. But as we talked about yesterday, we know that tune is going to change here by the time we get to tomorrow. Number one, rain increases throughout the morning, that north-south band that we see. And then as we progress into the afternoon, it just kind of stays right on us. Remember, we're looking at anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 an inch by the time we get to the evening. Then, as we get into Thursday, begins to flip over there with our rain-snow mix that takes us all the way through the morning commute. Perfect timing. So no travel concerns for today or this morning. Just be wary. I'm already thinking about Thursday. Everybody just be safe today. I'm already keeping my eyes on Thursday morning. Let's just plan on a little bit of extra time tomorrow morning to make sure everybody's safe.
I noticed it started raining on me a little bit on my way in this morning. So
yeah. And like I said, it's really not going to get widespread until late morning, afternoon. But then as it's going to change over early. You and I are probably going to see some snowflakes on the way in tomorrow morning.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that for sure. All right, thanks, Michael. CBS News projects Democrat Raphael Warnock has won one of the 2 U.S. Senate seats in the Georgia runoff elections, beating incumbent Kelly Loeffler. The other race between David Perdue and Jon Ossoff is too close to call as votes are still being counted. CBS's Deborah Alfarone is on Capitol Hill with the latest on the potential shift in power.
On Tuesday,
you can't complain if you don't vote.
To cast their ballot for 2 Senate runoff elections that could shift the balance of power in Congress.
God gave us a voice to be heard.
CBS News projects Democrat Raphael Warnock has beaten Republican incumbent Kelly Loeffler thanks to strong support from black voters and young voters.
I am going to the Senate to work for all of Georgia.
But Loeffler didn't concede when she addressed her supporters overnight.
It's worth it for this election to last into tomorrow. We're going to make sure every vote is counted.
The other race between Republican David Perdue and Democrat Jon Ossoff is still up in the air as more votes are counted.
One vote can make all the difference.
Most of the remaining ballots come from areas that favor Democrats.
It's a razor-thin margin we've seen out there so far.
If both Democrats win, it gives President-elect Joe Biden a unified Congress, making his legislative agenda more likely to pass.
Georgia voters have never had more power than you have today.
Ossoff would become Georgia's first Jewish senator. Warnock will be its first black senator.
The improbable journey that led me to this place in this historic moment in America could only happen here.
The losing candidate can request a recount if the results are within a 0.5 percentage point. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
Overnight, Warnock's lead was outside the 0.5-point margin. Ossoff's lead over Perdue was still within the margin. Perdue, incidentally, has been absent on the campaign trail since last week when he was forced to quarantine after someone on his re-election team tested positive for the coronavirus. Well, if you've been constantly hitting refresh on your bank account in search of your $600 stimulus payment, there could be a reason it's not there yet. People began posting on social media that when checking the status of their stimulus payment, they noticed the account number it says it was deposited in was wrong. We looked into it and found the account numbers belong to H&R Block and are associated with a refund transfer option they provide taxpayers when filing their taxes each year. And that's worried some people expecting a payment.
Once the tool became available on the IRS website, I went ahead and checked it, and lo and behold, it shows, the last four numbers of some other account that is not my bank account.
We reached out to H&R Block. Officials there said they are aware of the issue and are working to process the payments as quickly as possible. We also reached out to the IRS about what caused the issue, but we haven't got a response. Officials with the Village of Airport Drive, Missouri, speak out after the Jasper County Commission denied their request for CARES Act funding. The village says they submitted 2 applications to the county totaling a little more than $47,000. The attorney for the village, Derek Snyder, says they intended to use the funds to recoup costs associated with 2 business stimulus programs from in April and May. Snyder says those applications were set aside for more than a month before being reviewed and eventually denied yesterday morning. Well, U.S. government data shows the COVID-19 inoculation rate in Kansas is the lowest of any state. Despite that report, Governor Laura Kelly says she's, quote, very comfortable with how the state is distributing COVID-19 vaccines. The governor says the poor showing in the report reflects a backlog in reporting data, not in actual vaccinations. Ottawa County, Oklahoma officially has a new sheriff. County officials yesterday swore in David Dean. Dean started working as the sheriff on Monday. He says he wants to make the community proud of the sheriff's office again.
Just get this sheriff's office where people can be proud of it again. Make everybody within this sheriff's office a family, to where everybody is happy to come to work, glad to come to work.
Newton County Commissioner Stephen Chastain was also sworn in yesterday. It's 5:07.
And we've got rain coming down right now. Temperatures today, not too bad, actually seasonable. We just kind of got spoiled yesterday. But remember, even though it's going to be a wet Wednesday, anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 inch of precip, big change is tomorrow morning when we see it flip over to a little rain-snow mix and temperatures into the 30s and low 40s for the weekend.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, we hear from MSSU's athletic director following an announcement he's stepping down. Plus a preview of an upcoming HBO series examining the investigation of murdered journalist Jamal Khashoggi. And is the coronavirus vaccine right for you? We're going to look at whether it's safe for people with underlying medical conditions. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Missouri Southern announcing a big change to its athletics department Tuesday morning. Athletic Director Jared Bruggeman stepping down in March after serving as AD at the Lions for nearly 12 years. Our own Jacob Leonard has the story.
Missouri Southern Athletic Director Jared Bruggeman is about to make a career change.
I'm not sure if I want to be in athletics or not. It's been a great run for me. It's been 20-something years working in athletics, but also there's other opportunities out there as well.
Bruggeman is stepping down as athletic director at Southern, effective on March 16th, following the conclusion of the winter sports season.
This is the time of the year if we're going to be moving forward, time to get that announcement out. So very exciting time, I think, for me as a person, for the family, and certainly I think for Missouri Southern as to get a chance to bring somebody else in and get the program working as well.
Since being hired in 2009, Bruggeman, among other things, has helped bring some pretty big facilities additions to the school, including the North End Zone facility at the football stadium, artificial turf, and a new video board.
Oh, it means a lot. And again, it was a group effort. It means a lot to show how this campus can progress by working together and working with other folks, having donors out there, working with the community. Getting to know the people of Joplin in this region has been very special, and I want to thank the donors and all the boosters and all the support we've had to make this move forward.
Corey Reed will serve as interim athletic director when Bruggeman's resignation becomes official in mid-March.
I think Corey's a wonderful person. I mean, when she was here before, I didn't like it when she left and went to Neosho. I have 100% faith in her being able to step up in that role and do all the right things and handle all the situations. So she's a wonderful person, and Missouri Southern can't go wrong with her.
Missouri Southern also currently looking for a head football coach after the school parted ways with Jeff Sims in December. They're separated by less than 10 miles, and so far this season, they've been two of the best boys basketball programs in the 4 states. East Newton Patriots welcoming in the Neosho Wildcats. First game of 2021. East Newton just one loss, sits at 9-1. Neosho comes in 7-2. East Newton Patriots taking the lead early. Kyson Lyman, bucket off the rebound. He had a game-high 17. Patriots up by 3 later in the quarter. Lyman again, drain it. Ooh, a little mid-ranger. East Newton leads by 4. Second quarter, Neosho responds. Landon Austin, nice reverse, team-high 15. And in the second, Kelton Sorrell. Oh, pump fake 8 times, it'll go, big man. Patriots led by 3 at the half and pull away in the second half. East Newton wins at 49-31. They rolled at 10-1 on the season. That dude right there, that's Devontae Smith. He is this year's Heisman Trophy winner. Becomes the first wide receiver in 29 years to be awarded college football's top individual honor. The last being one Desmond Howard back in 1991. I'm missing somebody. I got Johnny Rodgers, Desmond Howard, Devontae Smith. I think there's another one on the list. I just can't come up with it on the top of my head. My apologies. Boston Red Sox making history as the team announced the hiring of 29-year-old Bianca Smith, the first black woman to coach in the history of professional baseball. Now, according to MLB.com, Smith is going to serve as a minor league coach for the Red Sox organization, based at the club's player development facility in Fort Myers, Florida. Now, most recently, Smith was an assistant baseball coach and hitting coordinator at a private liberal arts college in Wisconsin. Her previous work experience includes youth academy roles for the Cincinnati Reds and the Texas Rangers. How about that combo? And she interned with the MLB corporate office. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, new lockdowns around the globe.
The new COVID-19 strain is pushing healthcare systems in the UK and around the world to breaking point. I'm Benjamin Hall in London with all the details coming up.
A check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Just past 5:17 on this Wednesday morning. Only thing we're really seeing of interest is going to be down here in the elevated areas, the Ozarks, a little rain snow mix. For us, just going to concentrate on rain. Shouldn't affect travel at all. Like I said, it'll just stay as rain because we're still sitting at 44 degrees in the Freeman Health System sky camera. Not too bad at all. Whole bunch of mid-40s even when you drop down into Miami and Neosho right there. Now the wind is switching once again because the cold front is trying to work in right here. And it's going to be a combo of that Gulf moisture and that low pressure that moved in off the Pacific Northwest. Temperatures mid-40s today, just kind of stagnant after this. It's really just the rain because we're going to go anywhere from quarter to half an inch. The key factor is not today. It's tomorrow morning. Remember, that's when we begin to see the rain-snow mix flip over. Going to last us just in time for the morning commute. And even after it's done in the mid-morning, cold weekend ahead. Overnight lows back into the mid-20s. Tanya?
Well, an upcoming HBO series examines the investigation into the brutal murder of a journalist. And a new Netflix series explores what really happens when we die. Chris Martinez has those stories and more in today's Eye on Entertainment.
HBO has unveiled the trailer for the upcoming drama, The Investigation. The 6-part series explores the real-life investigation surrounding the 2017 murder of Swedish journalist Kim Wall, who was killed aboard a submarine where she was conducting an interview. The submarine's owner was convicted of the crime in a highly publicized court case. The investigation streams on HBO February 1st. The 2021 Grammy Awards are being postponed due to concerns over COVID-19. The award show was originally scheduled for January 31st in Los Angeles. In a statement, the Recording Academy said to help protect the health of performers and audience members, the show is being moved to March 14th. Cobra Kai's William Zabka says it feels great that his on-screen character Johnny Lawrence has gone from hated to beloved. The Karate Kid bad guy is now a fan favorite.
The fact that people are loving Johnny Lawrence and that he's entertaining them and they're on the ride with Johnny and rooting him on. It feels incredible.
Cobra Kai stars Zabka and Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRusso. The third season is streaming now on Netflix. And a new Netflix series attempts to answer the question, what really happens when we die?
Her brain was not functioning, and yet she had the most vivid experience.
My near-death experience changes how I understand death.
Surviving Death takes viewers on a journey beyond human existence, weaving together innovative new research along with first-hand accounts from people who have been close to and even experienced death. Surviving Death premieres on Netflix today. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Hip-hop music legend Dr. Dre was admitted to a California hospital yesterday. He posted on Instagram after being hospitalized in Los Angeles, but did not share why he was in the hospital. In his post, Dr. Dre thanked everyone for their well wishes and said he was doing great. He also said he was getting excellent care from his medical team and expected to be out of the hospital soon. Well, Health Watch is just ahead, but first, there's something we want to address. Many of you have been asking why we haven't been doing our Something to Talk About segment. Well, the reason is we've had some technical problems with the computer we use for reading Facebook comments here in the studio. We want to assure you it's not permanent. We plan on bringing it back in full force as soon as we are able to. We'll be right back. Topping Health Watch this morning, as more coronavirus vaccines roll out, you may be wondering whether to get vaccinated when it becomes available to you, especially if you're pregnant, nursing, or immunocompromised, or have allergies. Mandy Gaither has more on what medical experts advise.
2 coronavirus vaccines currently have the green light in the U.S. The first is Pfizer-BioNTech's vaccine, 2 shots given 21 days apart. This one is recommended for anyone 16 years and older. The second is Moderna's vaccine, again 2 shots, but this one is given 28 days apart and is recommended for those 18 and over. Research is still being done to determine whether these vaccines are safe for children and younger teens. If you're pregnant, you can choose to get the vaccine, but
you should know that these vaccines were not extensively studied in pregnant women, so there's limited safety data to look at for that group. On the other hand, COVID-19 itself poses a risk for pregnant women. The CDC says that some women who contract COVID-19 are at an increased risk of severe illness and might also be at an increased risk for having a preterm birth.
Both Pfizer and Moderna created mRNA vaccines, which aren't thought to be harmful for a nursing child, according to the CDC. For those who are immunocompromised, you may choose to get the vaccine, but these vaccines were not substantially studied for your underlying health condition.
So there's not enough data on how safe they are or how effective they are yet. On the other hand, getting infected with COVID-19 can be risky for people with compromised immune systems.
For those with allergic reactions,
the CDC says you shouldn't get the shot if you're allergic to the components in these vaccines, which you can review on the vaccine's product labels.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, if you have common allergies to animals or food, for example, the FDA says you're no more likely than the general public to have an allergic reaction to these coronavirus vaccines. Researchers in Europe are learning more about one of the most common side effects of COVID-19. In a study about 2,500 COVID patients, researchers found nearly 86% with mild symptoms reported a loss of smell, while only about 7% of severe cases reported loss of smell. The average patient regained their sense of smell after 22 days, but nearly 25% did not regain it for 6 months. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got Wednesday morning rain coming down on Skywatch Storm Tracker. Nothing severe and pretty scattered for the most part. No lightning and temperatures up into the 40s right now, so don't have to worry about it flipping over at all. We're just going to ride the 40s for the rest of the day. Remember, the big factor is going to be tomorrow morning because as the rain sticks around, going to flip over to some snow. More KOAM Morning News right after this.
The final battle for control of the Senate will have the latest results on the 2 Senate runoff races in Georgia, plus why some stimulus checks are going to the wrong bank accounts, and officials from the village of Airport Drive speak out after being denied CARES funding by Jasper County.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, Chinese authorities arrest dozens of democracy activists in Hong Kong. We'll have details. Plus, why the iPhone box is catching the imagination of people on social media. But first, a check on your forecast.
Scattered rain to begin on Wednesday as picked up by the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Go ahead and remove the cloud cover. Just one less layer we got to worry about here. Nothing hard. Down there in northeast Oklahoma, we're starting to see it come down at a pretty good clip there from Grove just through Commerce. But once again, nothing severe. We haven't picked up any lightning, anything like that, and we're not going to get enough to worry about flooding concerns by any means. Freeman Health System sky camera, 44 degrees. That's a great thing. Still got those little warm temperatures left over from yesterday. Stay well away from the freezing mark. Don't have to worry about the rain doing anything but staying as rain. Winds still coming in from the southeast there, but if you look on the left-hand side of your screen, yeah, you see it beginning to shift, and that means that we're stuck in the 40s for today, and we're stuck with the rain. But the big thing is what's going to happen tomorrow morning, and just in time for the Thursday drive to work. We're going to see the rain shift over to the rain-snow mix. Not looking at anything widespread, but I just want everybody to be prepared for that for the Thursday drive. And keep the umbrella handy today, and then let's just prepare to get out the door a little bit early tomorrow. That way we stay on the safe side, and then get ready for a cold weekend after that, even with the sunshine still stuck in high 30s, low 40s.
Yeah, not too bad today, if you can.
Nah, it's just rain. Like I said, we're fortunate. It's rain. No bigs.
Yeah, we can handle that. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, CBS News projects Democrat Raphael Warnock has won one of the 2 U.S. Senate seats in the Georgia runoff elections, beating incumbent Kelly Loeffler. The other race between David Perdue and Jon Ossoff is too close to call as votes are still being counted. At last report, Ossoff had a very narrow lead. Democrats need to win both to take control of the U.S. Senate. Activists stage a protest outside Missouri Senator John Hawley's home in Virginia. A group of about 15 people chanted slogans while holding candles outside Hawley's family home in Fairfax County, Virginia. Demonstrators who are reportedly from the group Shut Down D.C. are calling on the Missouri Republican to reconsider his stance on challenging President-elect Joe Biden's win in the 2020 presidential election. The activists say they left a copy of the Constitution at the senator's door and held signs reading, "Protect Democracy." The senator took to Twitter claiming that the demonstrators threatened his wife and newborn daughter, screamed threats, vandalized, and pounded on the door. However, the group shared a 50-minute video of the protest and stated that they did not engage in vandalism or even knock on Hawley's door. Well, people say they are not getting their stimulus payments because they're going to the wrong account. The problem stems from an issue involving H&R Block. KOAM's Chris Warner has more.
Ron Birch is one of a number of people who were expecting a stimulus check, but surprised to find their money had gone to an account that wasn't theirs.
Once the tool became available on the IRS website, I went ahead and checked it, and lo and behold, it shows, the last 4 numbers of some other account that is not my bank account.
And that caused concern for Birch.
I was absolutely very concerned, especially, with this day and age. Who knows, who has your information, who knows what they can hack, how they can hack it. So, yeah, immediately I was concerned.
Now, he wasn't the only one with the issue. Bailey Ward found the same surprise using the IRS tool.
So I called H&R Block, and she didn't really explain anything. She just said that they sent it there because whenever we paid our fees for doing our taxes, that it went to their bank account. And I'm like, why? And she didn't really explain why.
We reached out to H&R Block, who provided a statement saying in part that they are aware of the issue and they, quote, immediately deposited millions of stimulus payments to customers' bank accounts and onto our Emerald prepaid MasterCard, and that direct deposits are being processed. As for what happened, those that filed with H&R Block in 2020 had an option to have H&R Block take their fees from your tax refund. Now, to do that, your refund is sent to an H&R Block account. They take their fees, then send the money on to you. The IRS deposited this stimulus check into those accounts, so now H&R Block is processing them. In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
We did reach out to the IRS for comment on how the problem started, but did not receive a response. Officials with the Village of Airport Drive, Missouri speak out after the Jasper County Commission denies its request for CARES Act funding. Village says they submitted 2 applications to the county totaling a little more than $47,000. The attorney for the Village, Derek Schneider, says they intended to use the funds to recoup costs associated with 2 business stimulus programs from in April and May. Snyder says those applications were set aside for more than a month before being reviewed and eventually denied this morning.
They then seemed to determine that based on the amount of funding they had left and the need for future distributions of vaccines, that CARES Act would be going to that, and that they needed to prioritize their applications now, and so therefore they were going to deny ours because it wasn't a priority.
Jasper County commissioners declined to comment on the issue with Airport Drive or specifically why they denied their request. A couple area hospitals announced new numbers of patients battling COVID-19. Mercy says they currently have 54 COVID patients, up from 40 a week ago. Freeman has 49 current patients, up from one from last week. Of those 49, 13 are in the ICU, down from 15 last week. Authorities in Kansas City are investigating a shooting outside of a Missouri State Patrol headquarters. Officials say it started last night when a man approached the building with a gun. They say he fired the gun and refused to stop. At that point, troopers fired back and hit him. Troopers say the situation could have been worse.
If our troopers are not here, they're out patrolling. So, you know, I'm grateful that they were here because it could have been a lot worse.
Suspect was taken to the hospital. His injuries are not life-threatening. No one else was hurt in the incident. Missouri Highway Patrol says the suspect's car had a suspicious-looking package in it. A bomb squad secured it, but officials have not said what was inside. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, we're going to look at some of the creative ways people are repurposing their iPhone boxes. Plus, countries around the world re-entering lockdowns to prevent the spread of a new, more contagious coronavirus strain. We'll have the latest, but first, it's 5:37.
Rainy Wednesday, but we look out as temperatures manage to stay in the 40s. Big change is going to be overnight as the wind shifts, comes in from the north and brings us a rain-snow mix. We'll be back with World Watch next.
Topping World Watch, countries around the world are going into lockdown once again, as at least 2 new highly contagious strains of COVID-19 spread quickly. Benjamin Hall has more from London.
Just as the vaccination effort ramps up around the world, at least 2 new COVID-19 variants are causing big spikes and prompting lockdowns. Doctors in southern England first identified a new strain during the holidays, and public health officials have confirmed it is 50 to 70% more contagious than the original COVID-19, leading to a massive surge of new infections.
The volume of sick patients coming in with coronavirus is verging on unmanageable.
More than 24 countries are now reporting at least 1 case of the new strain, leading to new closures and restrictions, including here in the UK, where the toughest nationwide lockdown in 10 months goes into effect on Wednesday morning, with all non-essential businesses ordered closed.
It does take its toll on you because everything's so unstable, so it feels like the ground's moving beneath you.
It's the uncertainty of, are we going to be in work tomorrow?
Another big concern, whether the vaccines will be effective against the new strains. Public health officials around the world are studying the variants, but they say so far the proteins appear to be a close genetic match, meaning the vaccines should work.
By and large, the neutralisation is quite cross-reactive. In other words, the vaccines will cover quite a large range of variants.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson says the new lockdown is expected to last at least 6 weeks. In Hong Kong, dozens of opposition activists and former lawmakers have been arrested. Police say they've made at least 53 arrests, and they are not ruling out more. It may be the biggest crackdown yet since a national security law was imposed by mainland China. U.S. lawyer John Clancy, who is the chairman of the Asian Human Rights Commission, was arrested outside his Hong Kong office. Iran is on the ready as it conducts a massive military drone exercise as tensions escalate in the region. State TV showed scores of drones on a taxiway in an unspecified location in the Simin province on Tuesday. Iran's armed forces will reportedly test combat drones used as bombers, interceptors, and in reconnaissance missions in the two-day exercise. The drill's coming about a year to the day after the U.S. killed the top Iranian general by a drone strike in Iraq, and one day after Iranian forces seized a South Korean tanker in the Gulf. It's said to be the first large-scale drone-only drill that Iran is known to have conducted. Well, fire crews in Australia are rushing to put out another dangerous brush fire. The blaze is moving quickly near the city of Perth. Authorities say strong winds are fueling the flames, pushing them closer to neighborhoods and forcing evacuations. Those fleeing their homes say the inferno is severe, adding they hope they just have a home to return to when the fire is put out.
So we know it's still quite serious. We don't know when we'll be allowed to go back. The roads are still closed. We don't know even if our house is still there. We don't know if our neighbour's house is still there. We have no idea, and we've lost our cat.
Firefighters are using helicopters to try and put out the flames. In the meantime, local authorities are issuing fire warnings for several communities as the brush fire rages on. A Three Kings celebration is up in the air in Spain. The three wise men took to the skies to mark Three Kings Day on Tuesday. They went up, up, and away in a hot air balloon over Seville, waving at children watching them from homes. The traditional street parades on the eve of the Epiphany were canceled throughout Spain due to the coronavirus pandemic. Melchior, Casper, and Balthazar are said to have brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh to baby Jesus on January 6th. In Spain, children get their gifts from the three wise men and not Santa Claus. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Now, the news you need to know is just ahead, but first, there's something we'd like to address. Now, many of you have been asking and writing in why we haven't been doing our Something to Talk About segment. Now, the reason is we've had some technical problems with the computer we use for reading Facebook comments here in the studio. But we want to assure you it's not permanent. We plan on bringing it back in full force as soon as we are able to. We'll be right back. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. CBS News projects Democrat Raphael Warnock has won one of the two U.S. Senate seats in the Georgia runoff elections, beating incumbent Kelly Loeffler. The other race between David Perdue and Jon Ossoff is too close to call, as votes are still being counted. At last report, Ossoff had a very narrow lead. Democrats need to win both to take control of the U.S. Senate. Well, if you haven't received your $600 stimulus payment, there may be a reason. Some people have found when checking the status of their payment, the account number it was deposited in was wrong. The account numbers belong to H&R Block and are associated with a refund transfer option. H&R Block officials say they're aware of the issue and are working to process payments as quickly as possible. Officials with the Village of Airport Drive speak out after the Jasper County Commission denies their request for CARES Act funding. The village says they submitted 2 applications to the county totaling a little more than $47,000. They intended to use the funds to recoup costs associated with 2 business stimulus programs from in April and May. Officials say those applications were set aside for more than a month before being reviewed and eventually denied yesterday morning. Missouri Southern State University is looking to add to its social media influencer program. The program started about a year ago with 8 students, but hit 15 last semester and is steadily growing. Influencers are given free branded items in exchange for generating social media content for their followers. The idea is to use students for testimonials online, creating a recruitment tool. That's a look at today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And we've got Wednesday morning rain, scattered variety, nothing severe. Haven't picked up any lightning, anything like that, but make sure you don't leave without the umbrella. Nice thing is our temperature's still in the low to mid 40s right now, so we don't have to worry about any of that flipping over. If you gotta travel today, biggest thing's gonna be going north. You're just gonna run into the rain all day long. You work out east, west, even down to Tulsa, it's gonna be scattered, light. No big deal. Now, things are gonna change though by the time we get to tonight, because look at that right-hand panel. See that north wind shifting right now. And once it begins to come in, that's going to make a big difference in what that rain does. So even though it stays as rain throughout the course of the evening hours, by the time we get into Thursday morning, then we've transitioned over, got the rain-snow mix early Thursday morning lasting until the morning commute before it finally changes back to rain. And also, too, that north wind brings us a cold front that's going to stick around. Overnight lows into the 20s each and every night as we head into the weekend.
Well, we probably couldn't go a day without it, but today you have permission to thank your tech. It's National Technology Day, so whether you can't be without your smartphone, your home just wouldn't be a home without your virtual assistant, or your eye in the future and of autonomous cars, technology is all around us and ever changing. And as 2021 begins and we look towards new inventions and advancement, remember how all those everyday items that make life easier and more connected. Try to imagine what we wouldn't be able to live without in the next decade. Wow. Well, it's not unusual for a new iPhone to be trending when it comes out, but would it stir up sudden buzz about the empty iPhone box? Okay, a box. Ginny Moose reports it's all about how the box is being used.
A new iPhone may be
what a lot of you have been waiting for.
But you know what may outlive that phone?
Back to the box.
The empty box. iPhone box began trending thanks to this taunting tweet. I don't know who needs to hear this, but throw away that box your iPhone came in. You don't need it. You will never need it. Oh yeah? iPhone box hoarders came out of the closet, posting photos of the box being used as a drawer divider, transformed into wall art featuring boxes from various Apple products. Someone even turned an iPhone box into a gaming joystick controller. Sure, the phone itself might have fancy features like liquid retina display and Touch ID, but the empty box can be used to stash your pipe and weed paraphernalia, noted someone posting a similar photo. iPhone and Android users aren't so different after all. Lovingly opened,
Deplastified.
One fan praised it as the pinnacle of cardboard box design. Those online unboxing reviews tend to treat the box
easily the slimmest looking iPhone box ever
as itself worthy of critique.
You can see the outline of the phone, which is actually a really cool thing.
Empty iPhone boxes are even sold on eBay, averaging $8 to $10 a piece. iPhone empty boxes are ideal for resellers reselling the actual phone. There is literally life after death for the iPhone box. It is the perfect fit for a departed rodent. My gerbil died. Homie's coffin and iPhone box. Rest in peace, bro. Or how about as a coffin for my son's hermit crab? We used one for my hamster. The iPhone itself may go extinct, but the box has an afterlife.
You know, they say a kid's favorite gift at Christmas is the big box that it came in. I guess the same is true for adults. We'll be right back.
Give you an idea of our Wednesday morning rain. It's not looking like anything severe by any means. And the nice thing is, with temperatures up in the 40, yeah, just rain. Don't have to worry about it flipping over for today. Nothing severe and no lightning. And also, too, anywhere from quarter to about 3/4 of an inch by the time we get into the evening hours. So an idea that it is going to stick around. But our temperatures just stay above the freezing point. Such great news. Such great news on a Wednesday. Now, by the time we get to Thursday, that's when things will begin to change. We will see them drop as the cold front moves in. Rain-snow mix for Thursday morning, lasting until the mid-morning until it flips back over to rain, and a cold front making it a chilly weekend.
The final battle for control of the Senate will have the latest results on the 2 Senate runoff races in Georgia, plus why some stimulus checks are going to the wrong bank accounts, and officials from the village of Airport Drive speak out after being denied CARES funding by Jasper County.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, why some people are choosing to participate in Dry January, and the story of a life-saving kidney transplant from a stranger. But first, a check on your forecast.
We're already sitting about 1/10 of an inch, especially down in northeast Oklahoma and right on the Kansas-Oklahoma state line, where we see the hard rain coming down south of Independence and then in between Grove and Miami, headed toward Commerce up toward Cherokee County. As far as what we're seeing in southwest Missouri, it's remained relatively light. We're starting to pick up a little bit there along I-44. In between Mount Vernon and Monette. No lightning, not looking at anything severe. It's just going to be a little bit of a wet Wednesday, wet Thursday as well. We'll get to Thursday here in a second. Freeman Health System sky camera, 42 degrees, so no complaints. Stays as rain for the most part. Wind is shifting. That's going to be a key factor because while we're able to hang on to the 40s right now, we'll look at the left-hand side of your screen. Oh, we see those arrows moving. They want to come in from the north here by the time we get to tomorrow. Look at that little swirl. That's that low pressure system we've been talking about coming in out of the Pacific Northwest for the past couple of days. So today's not too bad. Our temperatures are just going to ride exactly where they are pretty much through the rest of the day before they begin to drop when that front moves in. But when that front does move in early tomorrow morning, going to take all that rain, it's going to flip it over. We're going to see a little snow here. Not a whole lot, a little rain-snow mix. Most of it's going to stay over by the Ozarks right there. You notice that? Look at that. You just get east of our highlighted counties, they'll get the majority of the accumulation. We'll get a little dusting though. Just want people to know that be ready for that tomorrow morning's ride to work is that's the one. We got to give ourselves a couple of extra minutes to get out the door there. Now, cold front sticks around after that. Compared to those mid-50s we saw yesterday, we're going to be in the high 30s here for the rest of the week.
Not too bad. I mean, we'll be ready for it
it's
tomorrow.
pretty.
Gotta be prepared.
You look at that. That's pretty seasonable for January.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't like those lows come Friday night, but
you know, our average low this time is 25. So it's just a big difference from what we've been doing.
yeah, January's meant to be cold. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, CBS News projects Democrat Raphael Warnock has won one of the 2 U.S. Senate seats in the Georgia runoff elections, beating incumbent Kelly Loeffler. The other race between David Perdue and Jon Ossoff is too close to call as votes are still being counted. Last report, Ossoff had a very narrow lead. Democrats need to win both to take control of the U.S. Senate. Jasper County Health Department reports 2 more COVID-19 deaths. The 2 patients were both women, one in her 50s and the other in her 60s. These latest deaths bring the county's total to 104. Well, a couple area hospitals announced new numbers of patients battling COVID-19. Mercy says they currently have 54 COVID patients, up from 40 a week ago. Freeman has 49 current patients, up 1 from last week. Of those 49, 13 are in the ICU, down from 15 last week. Well, some Village of Airport Drive leaders are upset with the Jasper County Commission, saying the commission did not handle the village's CARES Act request properly, and that commissioners used thin reasoning for denying their request. KOAM's Zach Dodge has the story.
In September, the Village of Airport Drive submitted 2 CARES Act applications to Jasper County, totaling around $47,000. Applications that the Jasper County Commission has denied.
I would hope that the commissioners reviewed everything properly and didn't make any review of this outside of a public meeting, which is what certain emails that I have sort of indicate.
Derek Snyder, attorney for the village, explains that in April and May, the village started 2 stimulus programs to help local businesses stay afloat during the state's stay-at-home order. So the village filed 2 requests in September to try and recover those costs.
We began to be concerned when other applications were being awarded and approved, and yet ours seemed to be set aside.
Snyder says later in December, they were told they were being denied because the requests appeared to be reimbursement for the village.
The CARES Act guideline doesn't restrict revenue replacement in regards to assistance to individuals or businesses. And it also seemed the commissioners had already made a decision. One email I received from Commissioner Adams seemed to indicate the matter was closed.
Fast forward to January 5th, when the commission held a hearing on the matter with Snyder, once again denying the request.
They then seemed to determine that based on the amount of funding they had left and the need for future distributions of vaccines, that CARES Act would be going to that.
Our obligation is to spend the monies as we think are the right way to spend the monies, and we're obligated to spend those monies accordingly, and unfortunately every application is different, clearly, and there are clearly guidelines that they have to fit into. And so we have to make the determination, do those fit?
None of the commissioners would comment on the issue with Airport Drive or say for sure why they denied their request.
Personally, I can't help but feel that had at least the first application by the village been taken up timely, then the reasoning that they use at this point to deny it wouldn't be the reasoning they could use at that point.
In Jasper County, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
The commission has allocated around $11 million of the $14 million in CARES Act funding it received. And we have a list of where most of that funding has gone so far on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, some people are raising concerns about their stimulus payments after many of those payments have gone to wrong accounts. They're posting on social media that when they check the status of their stimulus payments, they notice they appear to be deposited in the wrong account number. The account numbers have been related to H&R Block and are associated with a refund transfer option that they provide taxpayers when filing their taxes each year. And that's caused concern for those expecting a payment.
I was absolutely very concerned, especially, with this day and age. Who knows, who has your information, who knows what they can hack, how they can hack it. So, yeah, immediately I was concerned.
We reached out to H&R Block. Officials there said they're aware of the issue and are working to process the payments as quickly as possible. We also reached out to the IRS about what caused the issue, but we have not received a response. Missouri Southern State University is looking to add to its social media influencer program. The program started about a year ago with 8 students, but hit 15 last semester and is steadily growing. Influencers are given free branded items in exchange for generating social media content for their followers. The idea is to use students for testimonials online, creating a recruitment tool.
Everyone kind of can feel what an ad looks like. And our goal is to create this genuine and authentic voice. And what better way to create that voice than to use actual voices of our own students.
The spring 2021 influencer application deadline is 5 p.m. January 13th. An office manager for a Carthage dentist is accused of stealing tens of thousands of dollars from her employer. Authorities say from 2017 until January of 2020, Miranda Wolf failed to deposit nearly $60,000 in cash that customers had paid to the dental firm where she worked. She's also accused of increasing her pay by more than $44,000 in 2019 and $2,700 in 2020, and using the company credit card to make more than $27,000 in unauthorized payments. Authorities have charged Wolf with 3 counts of stealing more than $25,000. 6:07.
Not bad, because we knew it was coming, and it stays as rain for today. It's going to be a wet Wednesday. Keep the umbrella handy. And remember, we've got rain-snow mix on the way as the cold front approaches. That will flip over Thursday morning.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, our very own Jesse Irwin learns how to start the new year off with a clean start. Plus, how airlines are going to start charging for emotional support animals and how you can take a COVID test from your own home. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Money Watch this morning, 4 U.S. intelligence agencies released a joint statement saying Russia is likely behind the massive hack that included some government departments. The agencies, including the FBI, say it appeared to be for intelligence gathering purposes rather than to inflict damage. The hack may have reached 18,000 organizations, including the Treasury and Commerce departments. The start of a new year brings new resolutions for many of us, and each year more people are choosing to go alcohol-free for a month. Nancy Chen shows us how this year's Dry January Challenge comes as alcohol use has increased during the pandemic.
After welcoming a new year, many people are now saying goodbye to alcohol for the Dry January Challenge. That includes Douglas Waters, who has a good reason. The Manhattan business owner just opened the alcohol-free bottle shop Spirited Away in November.
I had increased my drinking, and a lot of people had. In response to that, I wanted to create a place for people who wanted to maybe rein that in a little bit and say, I actually don't want to be drinking as much as I am.
Drinks like these are helping more people than ever stick to their pledge for a dry January.
This year's Dry January Challenge comes as alcohol use has surged during the pandemic. People are feeling more stress, and many are having a drink to mark the end of the workday at home.
Research from the RAND Corporation released this fall found Americans were drinking 14% more in 2020 compared to the previous year. And heavy drinking among women, for this study considered 4 or more drinks within 2 hours, rose 41%.
So working from home has its obstacles on its own, but certainly when the bar is at home, there is less of an obstacle to find a drink.
Hillary Scheinbaum is the author of the Dry Challenge and says Dry January can be for anyone.
There are so many benefits involved with doing a dry January, including clearer skin, better sleep, better digestion, and just an elevated mood since alcohol is a depressant.
A path to a healthier new year and a different kind of buzz. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
The Scheinbaum recommends finding a friend to complete the challenge, as well as making alcohol less visible at home. American Airlines is the latest to ban most emotional support animals from its cabins unless owners pay extra. Last month, the Transportation Department began allowing airlines to limit which animals can fly because passengers were taking advantage of lax rules to bring their pets with them. Trained service dogs will still be allowed for free with the proper paperwork. We'll be right back.
6:17, feels like a good time for a little weather on the sevens. Now at Joplin Regional Airport, only picked up 2/100ths of an inch so far, but if you go in between Miami and Grove, we're already at about 1/10 of an inch, if not about half an inch, in these isolated places that you see the yellow in right there. So it's been pretty scattered and sporadic, also picking up right now along the Oklahoma-Kansas state line, southwest of Independence in southwest Missouri. Like I said, it's been relatively light so far. Nothing severe, no lightning. We don't have any flooding concerns, anything like that. But the real positive aspect from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin is that magic number of 42. Way above the freezing mark, and that's why we're going to just keep our Wednesday rain as simply rain. 43 in Parsons, 37 in Monette, and 39 in Iola. Nobody even close to freezing. I do want to point out this right there. That's a low pressure and a cold front. See that swirling action. So while everything's moving in from the southeast, keeping our temperatures mild for the time being, we know we've got some changes working out to the west of us. Just a matter of making sure they stay dry. The temperature is not going to go anywhere. The wind is going to shift north, but no worries on the bus stop forecast. As that low pressure system sitting right in the middle of the trough right there. And what that's going to do is eventually have some big changes on future track. Wednesday is going to stay as rain. Watch Thursday morning. Here we go. Now we get the rain-snow mix, and that's going to last all the way through drive time hours. Back to rain for the mid-morning, and then cold front sticks around. We've got 30s and 40s into the weekend. Now, for many of us kicking off a new year, the chance to sort of sort through the old stuff, try to get organized. Hopefully that's you, because that's not me. It can be easy to forget that by doing so, though, we have the potential to do a lot more than simply eliminate clutter. Our own Jesse Irwin reminds us how.
I look at the new year as kind of hitting the reset button, refresh, restart, pivot,
about face, and let's try to improve upon ourselves.
She's right. It is a new year. It's also cold, there's a global pandemic, and you've got way more free time than you usually do.
And as a professional organizer, we look at this as an opportunity to just reset intention in your home, and doing that by really evaluating what you have in each space. And is it serving you?
Kristen says asking yourself 3 basic questions can help you decide what to hold on to. Does it bring you joy? Do you use it? And is it valuable or irreplaceable?
If you don't like it and you're not going to use it, then let's talk about ways that we can get rid of that item that makes us feel good.
Here's an option. Donate it to Second Chances, a resale shop benefiting the Lafayette House. As an organization geared toward victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and substance abuse, it's an important time of year for them. And donations make the difference.
This is absolutely a wonderful opportunity for our organization. A lot of times we have donations and we can't keep everything on site at Lafayette House.
As you can see, clothing's a big part of their inventory, but it's not the only thing that helps.
Whether it's DVDs or even just simple little pictures, plates, cups, silverware, those type of things are really a useful something that our clients can use in their new homes.
And sure, while another new purse might not be what someone starting a new life is reaching for, it might catch the eye of another four-stater. Second Chances is open to the community, and its sales go entirely toward its mission.
So perhaps let's say if you spend the outfit behind you is $19 outfit, and that actually will provide over 10 meals for men, women, and children in shelter.
Oftentimes when people know that they are going to be able to donate something and it is going to be used or needed or wanted by somebody else, oftentimes that allows us to let go of it easier.
Helping to start someone's new beginning in your new year off on the right foot.
We'll have the address and link for our Second Chances on our morning show page. Just go to KOAMnewsnow.com. Health Watch is next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, an Ohio man desperate to find a kidney for his wife threw a Hail Mary to try to help. Well, his message crossed state lines and worked. And now the love of his life is about to get life-saving surgery. Natalie Clark has their story.
1 year ago, Aaron Thorne stood on a street corner in Hamilton, Ohio, wearing a sign that read, "Need kidney for my wife."
And we just tried it. And within 30 minutes of being out there, here came the news media saying, hey, we want to be a part of this. And here we go.
Aaron's efforts for his wife, Kelly, went viral.
Between the Facebook page and the news media's help, it just exploded.
A woman in Pittsburgh saw their story. After more than a dozen tests, Cheyenne Frappier learned she was a perfect match.
And I was floored. It just brings back so many memories now. I was just amazed. I was just, wow. And this all started by our community.
The news came just in time. Kelly had to have both her kidneys removed in 2020 because of polycystic kidney disease. That led to internal bleeding and congestive heart failure.
I go 3 days a week to dialysis for 3.5 hours. When I'm done, I'm usually exhausted.
Throw in a pandemic and Aaron's health, which includes surviving 5 strokes in 2019. And you can see why they call Cheyenne their hero.
I was very excited, but at the same time, I'm like, oh my gosh, someone is willing to give me a piece of themselves.
The Thorns say this wouldn't be possible without the help of the community.
Because of our community, because someone loved us that doesn't even know us. Look at us. We're blessed.
Thorne's transplant surgery is scheduled for February 2nd. Wish her the best. Well, 2 new variants of the coronavirus are not likely to make the current vaccines useless. And that's the word from multiple experts who spoke on Tuesday. They say the new variants, one discovered in England and the other in South Africa, appear to be more transmissible. But a University of Pennsylvania expert says the human immune response can still deal with their mutations. That's because the immune system makes a variety of antibodies, so some of them are likely to work. Well, you can now take an FDA-authorized COVID-19 test from the comfort of your own home. This coronavirus testing kit is now available on Amazon.com. Food and Drug Administration gave emergency use authorization for the dexterity test last month. One kit is currently available for $110, or you can get a 10-pack for $1,000. According to Amazon's website, the turnaround time is between 24 to 72 hours after the sample is received. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Got the rain coming down on this Wednesday. You've seen much as almost half an inch of rain there in northeast Oklahoma. 0.2 of an inch in Joplin. So a big discrepancy there from where you see the yellow compared to the lighter green. But it's just going to be a wet Wednesday. Nice thing is temperatures hanging in the 40s all day long. So even though it's going to be wet, we get to keep it as rain. But remember, cold front, it's hanging out to the west. That rain's going to flip over to snow just in time for Thursday morning. We'll be back right after this.
The final battle for control of the Senate will have the latest results on the 2 Senate runoff races in Georgia, plus why some stimulus checks are going to the wrong bank accounts, and officials from the village of Airport Drive speak out after being denied CARES funding by Jasper County.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, we learned more about how Republicans from several states plan to challenge the election results today. And the FBI begins an investigation following a threat to the U.S. Capitol building. But first, a check on your forecast.
Here's the rain that we have on this Wednesday morning. It's been scattered, nothing too severe. We are picking up though. Just want to go down here right on the Oklahoma-Kansas state line, just west of Coffeyville there in Sedan. We got some good rain coming down right there. Already picked up about an inch in between Miami and Grove now. McDonald County, we're picking up as well. That's going to head toward Neosho. Everything moving south to north. We're not going to pick up enough to have any flooding concerns, and we don't have any lightning or anything involved like that. And the nice thing is temperatures remaining in the 40s. It's a huge key factor that we can just keep our rain as rain. Temperatures are interesting because they're not going to go anywhere today. That's because that wind moves in from the southeast, waiting for the shift to come. Watch the left-hand side of your screen. You're going to see the arrows. See the flip right there, the circle that is creating? That's that low pressure coming off of the Pacific Northwest that we've been talking about for a couple of days. That's that cold front that's hanging out right now, about central Kansas is where it is. And the key factor is it's going to be on us by tomorrow morning. So no worry, like I said, no worries about today's precipitation. It'll just stay as rain. The key thing is going to be tomorrow morning. And so as this piles up, go about anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch today. And then there you go. Now we got our flip over on future track early Thursday morning. Hang around for the drive time. We'll see actually the most accumulation out in the Ozarks, east of our highlighted counties in southwest Missouri. As a matter of fact, they're going to have a winter weather advisory later on today into tomorrow. Not going to affect any of our counties. Just want you to be apprised of that situation if you're headed out east here in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, just be safe out there.
It's Branson, Ozarks. Yeah, they're going to see the majority of the snow.
Yeah.
We're going to get dusting, don't get me wrong. Nothing like what we had last week.
And I know and we're talking about that moving through morning hours too, so like a lot of kids are going to be going back to school, so don't be in shock.
They're going to be like, wait, I signed up for this to go back to school? Wait a second.
Right? Man. All right, thanks, Michael. CBS News projects Democrat Raphael Warnock has won one of the 2 U.S. Senate seats in the Georgia runoff elections, beating incumbent Kelly Loeffler. The other race between David Perdue and Jon Ossoff is too close to call as votes are still being counted. At last report, Ossoff had a very narrow lead. Democrats need to win both to take control of the U.S. Senate. Congress will meet today to certify the results of the Electoral College vote, but some Republican members plan to challenge the results. They include Senator Roger Marshall from Kansas. After multiple legal challenges and recounts, no claims of widespread election or voter fraud have been proven. Senator Marshall says it's about making sure that states are properly administering elections.
Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, that if we reject those electoral votes, it could significantly impact the final election results.
Marshall joins 12 other U.S. senators who say they plan to contest the Electoral College results. They include Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri and Senator James Lankford from Oklahoma. Senator Jim Inhofe from Oklahoma said today he will not challenge the results. Senators Roy Blunt from Missouri and Tom Cotton and John Boozman from Arkansas have also said they will not challenge the results. Officials with the Village of Airport Drive are upset after the Jasper County Commission denies their CARES Act funding request. In April and May, the village started 2 programs to help local business owners stay afloat during the state's stay-at-home order. The attorney for the village says in September they asked the Jasper County Commission for CARES funding to recoup those costs. The county notified the village that their requests were going to be denied after the village waited 3 months for an answer. And yesterday morning, the commission officially denied those requests. The village's attorney tells us they were denied because the commission planned to use funds for vaccine distribution.
Personally, I can't help but feel that had at least the first application by the village been taken up timely, then the reasoning that they use at this point to deny it wouldn't be the reasoning they could use at that point.
Jasper County Commission declined to comment specifically on the situation with Airport Drive or why they denied the request. So far, Jasper County has allocated around $11 million of the $14 million in CARES Act funding they received. We have a list of where most of that money has gone on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, if you've been constantly hitting refresh on your bank account in search of your $600 stimulus payment, there could be a reason it's not there yet. People began posting on social media yesterday that when checking the status of their stimulus payment, they noticed the account number it says it was deposited in was wrong. We looked into it and found the account numbers belong to H&R Block and are associated with a refund transfer option they provide taxpayers when filing their taxes each year. We reached out to H&R Block. Officials there said they're aware of the issue and are working to process the payments as quickly as possible. Well, technology is changing the way universities recruit students. At Missouri Southern, the marketing department is growing its social media ambassador program, utilizing influencers to expand its presence and reach online. KOAM's Kate Kelly takes a look.
Hannah Smithson has nearly 1,400 followers on Instagram, and that number continues to grow as she adds to her profile with plenty of green and gold.
I had a few people that have looked at my profile and they're like, okay, I see you go in Joplin, like what school is that? And I tell them about it and they're like, we've never heard about it, like what made you come here? And so I'd tell them.
As part of Missouri Southern's social media ambassador program, Hannah uses her reach to promote campus events, show off Southern swag, and offer helpful advice.
They ask me questions about campus or even classes. I've had people that just message me about classes asking me for help or just how to get around campus, stuff like that. So it's definitely something that people feel like they can just reach out to me.
The program began about a year ago under Ashley Erickson. It started off with just 8 students, but quickly grew to 15. She says it's become a useful tool to boost engagement online.
Everyone kind of can feel what an ad looks like. And our goal is to create this genuine and authentic voice. And what better way to create that voice than to use actual voices of our own students?
Erickson says prospective students tend to respond more to hearing testimonials from people they see as their peers.
Our goal is to create a relationship with our campus community and then with the high school community. We want these people to be local or people that are relatable. So they're transfer students or they're from some of the schools, the high schools that are just from around here.
In addition to getting free stuff, influencers also take home a new set of skills, something Smithson plans on using in her future.
To my field, I'm actually looking at a marketing position at a hospital back home. I didn't ever think I would be doing something like that, but this has really opened doors for me. So that's another thing that I'm really thankful for this program about.
In Joplin, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
Erickson says some influencers have told her the program kept them from dropping out when things got difficult during lockdown, providing them with a network of friends to keep them going. The spring 2021 social media ambassador application deadline is 5 p.m. January 13th. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The battle on Capitol Hill over the election results, plus why gun sales have skyrocketed in 2020. But first, it's 6:37.
And we've got rain on this Wednesday morning. Luckily, we stay in the 40s all day long. So even though it's going to spread all the way through the afternoon and evening hours, we don't have to worry about it flipping over to snow until we get to Thursday morning. Just be safe out there. Give yourself a little extra time. Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, what's usually a routine half-hour formality in Congress could go all day as Republicans plan to challenge the electoral results in several states, citing widespread voter fraud, for which there's no evidence. This while thousands of supporters of President Trump flood the streets of D.C. near the White House and the Capitol. Deborah Alfarone is on Capitol Hill with what we could expect.
Thousands of President Trump supporters have come to Washington, D.C. to protest the electoral results in a joint session of Congress today. The electoral vote count is usually a formality, but today more than a dozen Republican senators and roughly 100 House Republicans plan to contest the results from 3 to 6 battleground states. They're supporting President Trump's unsupported claim of widespread voter fraud.
What usually happens is that lawmakers read the results from each state. Then the vice president announces the final tally. But it's not clear what Vice President Mike Pence will do, or even can do.
I hope that our great vice president comes through for us. He's a great guy. Of course, if he doesn't come through, I won't like him quite as much.
That was the president at a rally in Georgia on Monday. He followed up that sentiment yesterday, tweeting falsely that the vice president has the power to reject fraudulently chosen electors. Election law expert David Becker.
The vice president's role during this joint session of Congress is entirely ceremonial. He basically operates like a host at the Oscars would. His role is to open up envelopes and count what's in there.
It is highly unlikely the opposition will have an impact on the count. The Democrat-controlled House is expected to vote down the challenges. Several Senate Republicans have also spoken out strongly against the objections. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And though reports indicate Vice President Pence told President Trump he can't block Biden's win at the count today, President Trump is denying Pence told him, saying that, quote, the vice president and I are in total agreement. Demonstrators took to the streets of Kenosha, Wisconsin last night to protest a decision by the Kenosha County prosecutor. District Attorney Michael Gravely said the police officer who shot and injured 29-year-old Jacob Blake last August will not face charges in the shooting. Officer Rustin Shesky, who is white, shot Blake, who's black, 7 times in the back while responding to a domestic incident. Blake survived the shooting but was left paralyzed from the waist down. Gravely said the decision to not charge Shesky or any other officer involved was based on the facts and laws. The FBI is investigating the breach of an air traffic control system after a threat to fly a plane into the U.S. Capitol building was broadcast. The plan was said to be revenge for the killing of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. The first anniversary of his death was on Sunday. Sources say the threat does not appear to be a credible one, but it's a crime to make threats over aviation frequencies. U.S. authorities have been on high alert ahead of the anniversary as concerns have emerged Iran may use it as a reason to target the United States. Well, guns have flown off the shelves in 2020. According to data compiled by Small Arms Analytics and Forecasting, it was a record-breaking year with nearly 23 million units purchased. Experts and trade groups also say that more than 21 million gun background checks were conducted in 2020. That's up 60% from the year prior. That's a look at today's top national stories. We'll be right back. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Private First Class Harlan Lane. Served in the U.S. Army from 1942 to 1945 at Iwo Jima and in Hawaii. His hometown, Carthage, Missouri. We are proud to salute Harlan Lane, our four-state hero.
Let's get this list started with a little K-Square. Kenzie Keeling celebrating the big number 11. Kenzie, a very happy birthday to you in Parsons.
And we've got the Kidwell twins celebrating today. Trenton Kidwell, 17 years old, and Trevor as well, both of them in Chanute.
Zach Chronister, he's turning 18. Little Northeast Viking pride right there. Happy birthday, Zach. Love from your mom.
All right, happy birthday, Zach. Melinda Buchanan celebrating birthday number 38 this year in Jasper. Hope it's a great one.
Lyle Gauthier, he's celebrating number 39 with man's best friend right there. Lyle, this comes with love from mom and David.
All right. And we've got Robin Harrell.
Who that is?
Looking great there, Robin. 41 years old in Pittsburgh.
Great picture, Robin. Great picture, and a very happy birthday to you, my friend. We've got a 60th birthday. Promise those little two aren't spoiled by Mr. Steve Villigan, are they? Tanya, look at that picture. Are they not spitting images of Steve?
They are.
Isn't that something else? Happy birthday to Steve.
They all have the same smile, too.
I know, it's great.
Happy birthday, Steve. Joe Cleason celebrating the big 7-0 today in Erie, Kansas. Happy birthday, Joe.
Look at this anniversary.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that something else? 72 years for Raymond and Mary Kleinsmith. My goodness. We do a lot of anniversaries. That's got to be up there as far as like one of my most memorable ones that we've done right there. That's tremendous. Congratulations, Raymond and Mary. They're celebrating in Chanute.
All right. Steve and Lori Freeman are celebrating 26 years of wedded bliss in Columbus. Congratulations to the Freemans. Penny Cherry and Frontenac, happy birthday to you.
Trayvon Smith, a happy birthday. He's celebrating in Pittsburgh. And Mary Ann York. This is an interesting one right here, folks. You know I like to pick on people that don't send in pictures and everything, and I would never blame Mary Ann at all. Because when your son runs the morning graphic department, that's right. I'm looking at, if you guys could see, if you folks at home could see me right now, I'm staring in the control room at our own Will York and wondering why he couldn't get a picture of his mom. Will, I will drive to Galena and get a picture of your mom for you next year, okay? All right, man. Miss York, you raised a wonderful son, and I apologize for him and the lack of the picture. I'll take care of it next year. But Marianne, and from all of us here at KOAM, a very happy birthday to you, ma'am. Now,
hey, at least you remembered to get it on. We'll give
right,
him that. We'll
right.
give
Well,
him that.
I don't know if he remembered or whether probably a family member called him to say, hey, make that happen.
We love you.
No. A very happy birthday to you, Marianne. You've raised such a wonderful son, and we are so blessed to have him here because that is the woman who raised the person who puts all these birthdays and anniversaries together for us. So we, as a matter of fact, for all of you that enjoy this part of the morning show, we all owe her a debt of gratitude. Now, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. CBS News projects Democrat Raphael Warnock has won one of the 2 U.S. Senate seats in the Georgia runoff elections, beating incumbent Kelly Loeffler. The other race between David Perdue and Jon Ossoff is too close to call, as votes are still being counted. Last report, Ossoff had a very narrow lead. Democrats need to win both to take control of the U.S. Senate. Well, if you haven't received your $600 stimulus payment, there may be a reason. Some people have found when checking the status of their payment, the account number it was deposited in was wrong. The account numbers belong to H&R Block and are associated with a refund transfer option. H&R Block officials say they're aware of the issue and are working to process payments as quickly as possible. Officials with the Village of Airport Drive, Missouri speak out after the Jasper County Commission denies their request for CARES Act funding. The village says they submitted 2 applications to the county totaling a little more than $47,000. They intended to use the funds to recoup costs associated with 2 business stimulus programs from in April and May. Officials say those applications were set aside for more than a month before being reviewed and eventually denied yesterday morning. Missouri Southern State University is looking to add to its social media influencer program. The program started about a year ago with 8 students, but hit 15 last semester and is steadily growing. Influencers are given free branded items in exchange for generating social media content for their followers. The idea is to use students for testimonials online, creating a recruitment tool. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
By the way, you all should follow Tanya on Instagram as the 4-state influencer. I call her the 4-state news influencer.
Sure.
Skywatch storm tracker with rain coming down on this Wednesday. It's going to be a little bit of a wet one. Just kind of more of an annoyance than anything else, and temperatures in the 40s. So we don't have to worry about anything severe. We have no flooding concerns and no lightning, nothing like that. But I'll tell you what is going to happen. Yeah, see those snowflakes coming down there? That's right. Overnight, we're going to transition this from rain today into a rain-snow mix for Thursday morning. So let's all be on top of that situation. It's not going to be widespread accumulation by any means, but just want everybody to be careful when we get ready to take off on Thursday.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making a cheesy, creamy, low-carb veggie dish called my favorite spaghetti squash in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And you can also find that on Tanya's Instagram page. Your morning news continues on KOAM. CBS Morning News, that's coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues.